Hello and welcome to the Sheep Seats. I am your host, Matthew, aka Sheep, aka Dark Sheep, and it is here. The dinger is here. The donger, the ding dang donger dinger. My kid is laughing at me in the other room after that. So here we go. We're just gonna get to drafting tonight. We are just gonna draft. We're gonna have some fun. The dinger is here. 100K to first, like last year. Prizes have been distributed throughout. We're filling the room right away. Appreciate that, Matt. Exactly. Rally's ready to ding. How much for me to draft Yamamoto in the first round? I don't know. I don't really have a method of getting me money or payment, but I appreciate your Trey Turner. Maybe we'll get a Trey Turner pick tonight. Here we go. Welcome, Billy, Joe, the Finger. And of course, as soon as I go live, get a notification that I'm on the clock in another draft. What could be better than this time of year? Spring is coming soon, even though it's 10 degrees outside my house. We have spring training some number of days away. I didn't look it up. I should have looked that up before I said it. So we got a group here. Rally's in here. Ghost is in here. Billy Joe's in here. Yeah. Otherwise, I've been seeing a lot of these other names in this contest. Yeah, I don't really have too many big plans tonight to really go any deep analysis into anything. We're just going to hang out and draft, have some fun. We got pick 7. Got another Judge over Soto pick by Ghost. Otani goes 5. The vibes are pristine now that the dinger's here. Oh, and I'm kind of interested in the perfect game draft this year. It's less entry fee than last year, so might be doing a couple of those. Julio goes. Who are we left with? Fernando Tatis. I haven't gotten any of him yet in the dinger. I took a couple of Jordan over him. So yeah, not much to say here. We'll take the outfielder we like or the outfielder we get. Yeah, I think I might do something similar. I'm not exactly sure yet. We'll have to also see what other contests we get. I have a feeling we're going to get an eliminator and or a weekly winners. There can be some maybe more mid-stakes entries too. I don't know. DK hasn't dropped their contests yet. Drafters hasn't dropped their contests yet. So a little bit of planning right now. This looks like a regular old draft. If you are thinking about doing the perfect game, I think there's like 2 spots remaining in the first slow draft. I am sitting there waiting. So if you also want to draft that, we are like 2 people away from firing that first slow draft. Matt Olson goes before Freddie Freeman. Got a nice tall gin and tonic tonight. Missing the lime though. Polo Reagan is on the end, has the tough spot. RT Sports. I don't know what RT Sports is. I'll have to look into that. No, I don't think. I think I missed any opportunity at Churio. He is now going at. Let's scroll down. Jackson. Yeah, 127 already. So I imagine he's going to go up as people realize spring training and he's in there and playing. So maybe it's still the best time to buy on him. So maybe we'll do that. I don't quite know yet. It's donger time. Nick Pivetta is a must. I don't know. I took a lot of Nick Pivetta early in the bullpen, and I feel like I haven't clicked him at all in this contest yet, which probably is a mistake. I do need some of that. All right, we have an interesting pick here. We are just going to go. We're going to scroll down a little bit. I think. Actually, no. Here's what we're going to do. We're going to take an Austin Riley pick here. He was somebody that, looking through my bullpen exposures, I did not have nearly enough of. So we will take him. I know it's different contests, and I don't want to be exactly drafting what I did or didn't do in the previous one, but it was an area that I knew I was missing regularly in drafts. I do want some more of him in general. So we're just going to go through here and star. Don't know why Forrest Wall is above Orlando Arcia, but just a pick. So we're just going to star these. If you've been drafting with me lately, if you've been in one of my Padres is what I meant to type. If you've been in a room with me lately, you'll probably have seen me make a few mistakes from doing this. I think I have I can't remember. I was taking some guys really early because I missed a couple of picks, but that happens. Oh, it was a Chas McCormick, like pick 70 or something like that, but it didn't turn out too bad. I did it to be unique, right? That's what you say when you do a mistake. I did this to be unique. Unique. Let's see. Anybody doing anything crazy yet? Nope. Slinky recognized that he needs his outfielder. Took Kyle Schwarber. Polo Reagan gets the Freddie Spencer Strider on the end. Potentially two highest scoring players at their positions. This was on purpose. Acuna MH3 LBs, that was on purpose the other night. I've done a couple of them where I get a guy really late or really far down the draft that's just on a stack that I want to put together. And our friend here takes Michael Harris from us. Well, that was the plan. That was the plan here. A little Austin Riley, Michael Harris combo to start it off. But that's fine. We can easily bounce back from that plan. We could take an Ozzy Albies here. We'll see who is on the board. Gambit takes Vlad. All right, so I'm actually going to take Devers here. I like his upside way more than doing the Ozzy stack with Austin Riley. Yep, absolutely. Got three high upside players here to start off. Obviously, it's not necessarily ideal to be two infield here and only one outfield, but both of these guys have the potential to make big waves, and we will be happy with this start. I don't really know a start that I wouldn't be like stoked on, or like at least a little bit happy. Like at this point, you can tell a good story about any of your first 3 picks. And if not, you probably need to get a better imagination. Kevin Gossman has been falling. A lot of the talk behind the scenes and in front of the camera for some of the stacking dingers guys lately has been what we think is going to happen to pitching. Last year, once we rolled into the dinger and spring training, pitchers really shot up in price. And at the moment, I have noticed in the dinger that outfielders have all kind of bumped up even another little, like, couple of spots. But the pitchers have not. In fact, I did one draft today. I guess maybe it was because it was the Badge Bros stream draft and pitchers kept falling for that whole draft. So I don't know if everybody was punting pitcher or not, or at least everybody's maybe more aware of the pitcher dynamic at this point. And they're sort of the narrative, the talk is leaning towards waiting on pitching more than last year. But yeah. Yeah, we might do that. There's not really an Atlanta, there's a chance that we take like a Machado with Tatis. But yeah. All right. Yeah, so here's an example of a guy that I've really been reconsidering. If you checked out be sure to check out the Stacking Dingers last episode. And there was some interesting stuff about him. He definitely is projecting in this spot. A lot of risk in Nolan Jones, but I've come around to accepting the risk a little bit more. I've been thinking it through a little bit more. And I have been taking him a little bit. I do need to probably go in and update my rankings to match some of these changes that I've been doing the last couple of weeks as I've been thinking through things. Yeah, Nolan Jones, has a floor, has a pretty big floor considering, the strikeout profile. But we're taking him here for the upside and the Coorsness and all that good stuff. All right, so Polo Reagan is going a little interesting here. 2 infielders, 2 pitchers, first 4 picks. Who knows where they go from here? Interesting to check that team out maybe at the end. The White Rabbit goes the 3 outfielder, 2 pitcher. Or are we going to get an infielder here? I say they're going to take another pitcher. That's my prediction. Aaron Nola, Tyler Glasnow, 2 opposite of the spectrum pitchers. One guy who is a innings eater without a bunch of upside, and another guy who the innings eat him and has a ton of upside. Ghost gets Framber as his first pitcher. Definitely like that. The 3 strong outfielders with a really nice anchor infielder. Rally's got a little bit of a Texas thing going with his Soto, Gunner, and Paul. Nice. Yamamoto goes there at 52. I don't know. We'll see what happens once we see him pitching against live hitters, live MLB pitchers. But if he looks good this spring, I think he's going to be easily up into this Gallon, Castillo, Wheeler range. So You might be able to get a little value on him. So it seems like everybody's got rallies, skipping the pitchers for now. Ghost, I love the front end. Pete Nimmo stack, yeah. Absolutely. Or even a Pete Lindor. Oh, we're on the clock. Castellanos goes. Teoscar has been on a serious climb. I am going to grab a pitcher here and take a Kodai Senga pick here. I do like George Kirby. Fine enough. I love Logan Webb for his innings. I like Skubal. This whole pitching group I like. So I just sort of pick from different pieces of it. Sheep going to get pounce on Hap here. Yeah, I've really backed off on Hap. I might be overreacting to the value that I got on him. Like I said, these guys that we feel comfortable with, like Teoscar going to the Dodgers, Hap, they've all been sort of climbing up a little bit at a time. And I feel like since the Dinger opened, they've climbed up even more. So be interesting to follow, the next month, how the different positions react to potentially more public drafters or just a different set of drafters coming in as, they get done with football or they, start thinking about baseball or whatever. All right. So was that Polo's first outfielder? Yeah. I think that's definitely for me a 7 outfielder build if I'm doing that. For sure, 6 pitchers on that guy. Yeah, and if Machado had made it back to us, I definitely would have paired him with Tatis. I haven't really seen too much update. As far as I've seen, Machado's still in line to be ready for the start of the season. He'll just miss spring. Yeah, maybe we'll do a second draft. We'll see how my voice is holding up. It is. We are on the clock. We have a gin and tonic tonight without the lime. All right. We got to take our guy, Freddie. He's not getting back to us. And there's I kind of view a bunch of these outfielders similarly. So I don't know what this means. I'm assuming maybe that's a brand. It is just basic the green bottle. Maybe I've had too much already. I can't remember the name of the basic gin. Yes. Tanqueray. That's it. It's been a long week. Well, I'll blame that. It's been a long, cold week here in Wisconsin. Negative degrees most of the week. Got some more snow overnight. But we don't care about that. We're thinking about Florida and Arizona. Is anybody out there been to any spring training games ever? That's something I always would love to do, but never have taken the time to do it. Listen, it comes It was the truth. It comes in a green bottle. That's all. That's all you need to know. Absolutely. I have been taking Frelick. I don't think he has a ton of upside right now, unless he finds if he finds some power. But I think as far as the Brewers outfield young guys go, even comparing him to Churio, who's young and exciting, I think the more likely outcome that is that Churio is like an average hitter his first year. Like he's like what 20 years old. Like I think the most likely outcome that he could be just like a similarly average hitter. And Frelick is he has the skills that are going to keep him in that lineup. I think he might bounce up and down the lineup, but where he's going, and he hasn't really risen in price at all. He was him and another outfielder, but he's an outfielder that I thought the steam was going to be on this year based on last year and him. I guess he didn't really do anything exciting, but he came up and he was like a consistent contributor. I kind of thought that he was going to have more steam this year, and I'm surprised that he doesn't. I guess he's just not as shiny as some of the other guys. So yeah, definitely like that. And at the end, you can put him with William Contreras, who's like one of my most drafted guys. You can grab a Willy Adames at a decent price, I think, for the potential bounce back season. And you can make those little Brewer stacks. Also drafting a tiny bit of Garrett Mitchell. Just a little bit of him. All right, so we got a 2-2 build here. 2-2-2. We got our two pitchers, Senga and Peralta. Two infielders, Riley and Devers. Outfielders, Tatis and Nolan Jones. So here we have a couple of options. If we want to bump a Boston stack, Yoshida's here. If we want to bump up our Atlanta stack, we cannot take Ozuna. He's gone. Kind of looking ahead here at outfielder a little bit. There's a lot of bad juju on Yoshida, but I think we're going to pair him with Devers here. People are pretty down on Yoshida. They feel like he didn't really show up in his first season, but he still put up 24 points as an outfielder, which Quan, he's accumulating 1,200, 1,300, somewhere in that range of points last couple of seasons. And Soler is, he missed a lot of time. Oh, it's Tristan Casas. Soler's gone. So yeah, we're going to take Yoshida here. Just saying in our heads that, he is more acclimated to the game this year in the U.S. and acclimated to the team and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's interesting because he didn't have a bad year, but he didn't have like a super exciting year. And like, I don't know, just like the vibes are off in Boston. Like with him a little bit, obviously everybody hated Verdugo there. Good thing he got out of there. But yeah, but like there's no reason he can't take a step up this year, just like adjusting to stuff. And being a pretty good guy on this sort of build. And like we're taking this maybe on again, off again type of Coors guy and adding maybe a little bit more of an accumulator. All right, Riley Green's gone. We were hoping to get him there. He is on the rise. He's going to meet up with Jorge Soler soon enough. What is up, Berg? Thank you for coming. Cruz goes there. So here we are. We are doing it. We are just building this Boston stack up. Tristan Cassis, come on down. Ted Williams Jr., come on down. What's up, McCaffrey? I hope you are not rested, and I hope your your hamstring is still bothering you this weekend when you go play my Packers. Yeah, definitely been low on Riley in my drafts, so and that is something I have looked at and want to get better at. Adding some more. Good. I'd like you to be like, you could be like 40-45% for this weekend. That'd be great. Yeah, Riley Green is getting to a point where I'm starting to be quite conscious about the price. But as I have said multiple times, let's get this draft board up here, multiple times over the draft season so far, is you have to draft outfielders sometime. And if they're all going to keep rising up, you're just gonna have to bite the bullet, draft them where you can, where it makes sense. Draft them like in stacks, like we're doing here. I have not yet dove into the rates and barrels position previews. I need to do that. That is definitely a very important part of my process of my time spent getting ready for the season. Definitely listen to those guys, especially when it comes to listening to Eno on pitchers. I did start listening to the shortstop episode, but I have not got too deep into those yet. I will probably binge them all in a row once they're all out, is the likely scenario. We got a pitcher run going here. Steele, Reagans, Rodon, and Mitch Keller. We missed out on Xander. Yes, Rates and Barrels is the top up tier fantasy baseball podcast in my eyes. A lot of interesting options here. Thinking about this. All right, we did get Young. I was debating there between Torres and Josh Young. I just think I'm just ready for a huge, massive season from Josh Young this year. I think everybody has forgotten how good he was at the start of the season until he got injured, and he was the Rookie of the Year favorite going into much of the season, and then obviously Gunnar Henderson overtook him, as they kind of were on opposite trajectories for the season. But I think Texas is a better team on offense, and I don't know if that's a hot take. Is that a hot take? I mean, they just won the World Series, but Texas, I think, has a better offense than the Orioles. And where is Gunnar Henderson going for pick 46? And I think they're have pretty similar potential ceilings, outlooks, whatever, for this year. So we're getting some youth here in our infield. Yeah, and the other thing is I have so much Corey Seager that it's really nice to put Josh Young with him. Major bummer for him. I will say, as maybe you've noticed, been drafting with me, or you're checking out this draft, I think I was in the bullpen contest. I was not stacking enough. So maybe I'm overcorrecting now, but I've started stacking a lot more. I think that I definitely reacted to last year and some of the stacks that I liked, like the Dodgers, like the Muncy Will Smith part of the stacks didn't really super perform well. So I think that scared me off a little bit. But that's another adjustment I think that I've been making. Trying to put more stacks together. All right, so we are going to take Jung-Hoo Lee here. Definitely an I think he's going to be, well, I don't think about it because I haven't done any analysis. I'm not like a player and analyst. Just from what I've heard about Jung-Hoo Lee, that I think he's going to be an accumulator type of guy, from what I understand. And I think here at this pick is nice. Like we're taking Stephen Kwan at 78, and I think based on archetypes that maybe they end up being similar players. So I'm pretty happy with this price on him. We'll see how far he goes up. That's true. There's a park factor. I don't need to task him with this. He actually messaged the group chat tonight that he has done his. He's reaching the conclusion of his stacking analysis. So be sure to go check him out on Twitter in maybe early next week. And I have not seen any of it, but the gist that he put out was that stacking is good across the whole first season, and it really points to stacking is good week to week. So that's sort of supporting my switch to higher stacking. What's up, Nikita? Good show. Thank you. Lee is a Korean player who the Giants signed. He has a huge walk rate. He's not going to hit for power. He's not going to hit for, and in San Francisco, he's going to hit for even less power. Yeah, I can't wait to see what Chris has put together for the stacking stuff. There is Dave. Somebody did put together a schedule sheet. I apologize who did it. In the baseball thread on the Deposit Kingdom Badge Bros layer, there is a sheet somewhere. I don't remember who put it together. So we have a whole bunch of pitchers going here. I think it is interesting. We'll take a Christian Javier for a third pitcher. We're paying a lot more from last year. We saw some signs of life at the end of the season, and maybe he can put something together this year. It is interesting, I think, like a lot of the people that are talking about punting pitcher, not necessarily punting pitcher, but being less aggressive at pitcher this year, they're really feasting in these zones. So I think if this becomes a common thing that like these pitchers are going to start moving up, and if you can be building your team around these like chunks of pitchers that are going, like you're taking them at different places, there's a chance that you're building interesting, unique teams. I don't know exactly what I'm trying to say here, but there is something to be said about watching where everybody is taking pitching and like maybe jumping on some players in those areas where people aren't getting too much exposure to, like a Willy Adames, or Max Muncy. Maybe he has a great year. Gleyber Torres, because like the common talk is outfield, anchor infield, maybe another outfielder infield, and then you take pitching, and then you don't take infielder until the end. So maybe there's something to be said about planning your drafts, or not all your drafts, some of your drafts, such that in these runs of pitchers, that's where you're taking your infielders. Trying to do a little bit of zigging when others are zagging. Let's see what do we got coming up here. We are sitting at 3 pitchers, 4 infielders, 4 outfielders. Riley Devers, Cassis Young, Tatis, Nolan Jones, Yoshida Lee. Let's queue up a little bit of Colorado here so we don't miss out on those pockets. All right, we are going to get Kim here. A little mini San Diego stack. We did not get our friend Machado, which is kind of like the three best bats. I guess Kim is more of a all-around contributor. The 3 best offensive players on San Diego right now. Yeah, and I did a similar thing here where I took Tatis, then Riley, then Devers, whereas maybe last year I would have taken Tatis, one of these 2 guys, and then forced an outfielder. But yeah, these infield guys just have a ton of points. We are pretty committed to infield at this point. I probably should not take any, maybe add my 6 at the end and make this a 7-6-7 type of build. That might be what we're setting ourselves up here for. Another adjustment that I've been making lately is I started the season really committed to 7 pitcher builds. And sort of as the discussion around pitcher has been taking place, and we've put a little less value this season on pitching, I have started taking, I have been taking these groups of early pitchers. Maybe I'm taking Castillo Wheeler on the end here, or something along those lines where I'm taking a couple guys out of this group. I have really started backing off of making those 7 pitcher builds and making those into 6 pitcher builds. Just trying to think about how other people are committing their draft capital to pitching this year, and how maybe more people are talking about taking them later and taking 7 or 8. So if I'm going to be on the opposite side and I still want a few of those early guys, maybe cutting it off at 6, where normally I would feel more comfortable with 7, but just sort of trying to react to how the field is building. Yeah, Berg almost never does 7. I still do sometimes. All about the 9 pitcher build. Yeah, I've definitely been there in my life a few seasons ago. Yeah, Tatis Machado stack. There's, people are afraid of the Machado thing. He's not exactly a spring chicken anymore, but Up until last year, he was really just such a consistent guy, and like one of those Iron Man guys always out there. All right. I was interested to see if Stanton came back to us there. He's been falling. I think this price is pretty silly on JD Martinez. I mean, I don't know where he's going to end up, but I think this is the case where we have a player who has a question about where he's going to land, and it doesn't matter where he lands. This is the sort of player that when he has a team, unless it's a really crowded playing time situation, he is going to go up once he signs. So definitely like grabbing him now. He has been falling. And yeah, I just like, we get him at 151 there. He might fall a little bit more until he signs, but I think he's the sort of guy that is going to be like, oh yeah, him. He's a good hitter, and he's going to go back up once he signs. And if he signs in a really like good hitting environment or on a good team, he's going to go up pretty high. So, up to the 100 type of range, 100, 110 type of range. So definitely feel good about grabbing him here. Late pitchers that I like that are big upside. I'm personally out on Boz. I just don't. He's just never pitched. I don't feel good about him being like a meaningful contributor this year. I'm not saying anything about his skills or talent. I'm just going to wait on Boz for another year, see where he goes this year, and see how much he actually pitches. But yeah, Taj Bradley is a super interesting thing. I've been listening. What I listened to, Sleeper in the Bus podcast was going through all the second year pitchers, which is over on Fangraphs. And the thing that I had forgotten was just how good Taj Bradley's pitches are and how well they rate on the stuff metrics. So definitely concerned a little bit, that back end of Tampa, like who gets starts throughout the year. But I'm definitely more interested in Taj Bradley than Shane Baz. Yes, the potential there is high. All right, we're gonna grab a pitcher here. We're gonna get Bailey Ober. I'm totally. I'm out on Michael King. Fine with Braxton Garrett at this price. Love Reed Detmers. I'm out on Max Scherzer. Mostly out on Nick Lodolo, Lance Lynn, whatever. So right there was kind of a decision for me between Ober, Garrett, and Detmers, and taking Ober there. Yeah, I've definitely done this in past years. Not quite that extreme. That's pretty extreme. I mean, you can do it. It's just so hard to hit on enough of the late pitching. Oh, we get a Trevor Bauer sighting at 164. Interesting. Back to Michael King. I could be completely wrong. We saw Seth Lugo, convert from that short inning guy to the long inning guy pretty successfully last year in San Diego. But I just don't love the idea of a pitcher who doesn't have a ton of volume and is used to short outings like converting to a starter. So I don't know. That's definitely more of a vibe thing than anything about Michael King's skill set. I am out on Scherzer also. I just think he's done. Like, as sad as that is, I love the dude. Just all the years of, just fantasy awesomeness, just watching him compete. But just like the, when he went to the Dodgers, he had so much, problems. Just, I think his body is just shutting down. Not shutting down, but his pitching ability is just sort of just done. But who knows? Maybe he has one last go in him. He has a couple of strong months this year. I'm just, the price is getting tempting now. I've seen a couple of people talking about it. The tempting price is getting to the point where it's like, well, what if he's good for a couple of months? So that is interesting. All right, we are going to take Tyler O'Neill. I don't have much Tyler O'Neill. We do have a Boston stack going. So we're going to build the 4-man Boston stack. Duran's gone, right? I think Duran has got completely past where I'm comfortable taking him. Yeah, 163. Maybe I'm still okay there, but obviously he's not there in this stacking opportunity. JFAT takes on my guy, William Contreras. What else we got going on here? Lance Lynn goes to Billy Joe. Definitely the only format you could probably draft Lance Lynn in. This is an interesting idea. I don't think I need... Well, he could be my 6th infielder. Don't know if I love going to a 5-man stack. I do have maybe a slightly different plan at this last infield spot. If we get to it for another mini stack. So yeah, that's definitely an option later. But yeah, 5 might be too much at this point. I don't know how super prolific. If it was Atlanta or the last year, obviously a 5-man stack would have been perfectly fine. But I don't obviously think that Boston's going to have that sort of output on offense this year. Because that's really what you're betting on by making those bigger than normal stacks, is that the offense is just good. So you're getting the pieces from all different parts of the season that are going off at different times. You're not necessarily worried about who's batting exactly next to who. You're just trying to capture a bunch of points from one really good offense that super overperforms. Sal goes at 183. We are sitting at 4 pitchers here. Maybe we'll grab some late pitchers, because we are going to take my favorite round 20 picks last year in... Oh, where'd he go? Did I do it wrong? There. Sorry, I didn't mean Elias Diaz. Sorry. Ezekiel Tovar, who should still just be the starting shortstop for Colorado this year. Put him with Nolan Jones. Build this young guy Colorado stack. Yeah, I did say it a little bit earlier. I do like Sal. I like him at the price. I think he's going to be one of the more constant fixtures of the Brewers outfield. They do have a lot of guys to get playing time in that outfield, but at the price where he's going, I think I'd still like him. I don't know how much further up the draft I would chase Sal, just because of the playing time risk, and I don't see a super big upside on him unless he needs to find some power to really have an upside. But if your decision is MJ Melendez, who just absolutely sucked last year, and Sal Frelick, I don't mind that pick. It is interesting to see MJ sort of settle into this part of the draft. High upside SPs. Pepio, Savale, not considered since their names we kind of know. Well, I'm not going to sit here and say that Aaron Savale has an upside. Maybe he has a consistency, and maybe he's not as bad since going to Tampa, but I'm certainly not going to say he's a high upside guy. Pepio, I honestly don't know enough about him. That end of the Tampa Bay lineup or rotation could be just all of these guys mixed all over. I don't know who all has options left. That'd be interesting to look at how many options these guys have. Who's going to be the guy that gets optioned a bunch? Yeah, I'm not sure what kind of volume they're going to get though. I guess that's the question: is how's that rotation going to shake out? I don't have an answer on that, and it does make me a little afraid on all of them. So we are definitely done at infield, I think, with the Riley Devers stack. So we're going to turn off that tab. We are going to unclick those. We are going to get a guy that should be primed for a bunch of volume here in Seth Lugo. I want to have good exposure to Lugo. I have a ton of exposure to him in the bullpen, and I want to make sure that I'm not forgetting about him now that I've clicked him a bunch. And I want to have, 10, 12% of Lugo. It's the sort of thing where, I was talking about Michael King earlier and being worried about this guy converting from relief pitcher to starting pitcher, and worried about how the body and stuff is going to hold up. Seth Lugo is older when he did it. King is not quite as old. So obviously there's some risk now, a year after getting 160 innings for the first time, like Seth Lugo did. Is this season the season that he's going to feel that amount of work? I don't know, but we've seen it now, 160 innings, and Kansas City really has no reason not to let him pitch. So I just like him as a volume play at the end. Manaea is a guy I have not got to, and that could be a big mistake. We'll see where he lands. But yeah, definitely some off-season work that he's talked about. What do we got here? Let's look here. Any interesting outfield options to go with these guys that we have currently? I'm pretty out on Charlie Blackmon this year. We've just seen his playing time decrease, and his body's sort of giving up. Brenton Doyle, I just don't see much upside in him, so I don't think we're going to take these guys. Don't really need an... Oh, Brandon Woodruff has an ADP. That's new. All right, we're going to take another sort of boring pick. A guy who has not put together the innings the last few seasons with a few various injuries. But we're going to take Marcus Stroman. I think his move to the Yankees is pretty... I don't think any less of that landing place than I did previous. So I have been grabbing him. Maybe he gets some wins. I don't know. I don't know what the Yankees offense is going to do. Obviously, they added Soto, but does Verdugo really do much? I guess I do take a little bit of Trent Grisham just because I'm a fan. Have been since he was a Brewer, even if he messed up in the playoffs. The question here, is it Aaron Ashby season? And while I have taken some Aaron Ashby, I don't think it's Aaron Ashby season. I don't think there will ever be an Aaron Ashby season. It pains me. It hurts my Brewer's heart, but I want to be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but just based on the reaction to the shoulder injury that he had last year, how it just sort of lingered. He didn't have his velo. They're talking about him this year like, oh yeah, he should be ready for spring training. Like, I just don't love any of the signs or the vibe around Aaron Ashby. I'm sorry. Does Max Meyer get babied by Marlins like Yuri did? I do think with the depth that Miami has, even if they end up trading Luzardo, I think they have enough guys that they don't really have to go to Max Meyer or really like force any of it. This is an interesting shout by Billy Severino as a last round pitcher. Definitely super interesting to see what happens with him. If you want to believe that it wasn't an injury issue and that it was that he was tipping pitches, as some of the talk has been, maybe that gets solved. But back to this, yeah, I don't see any reason. I don't think the Marlins are going to be. I think they're surprisingly a little bit competitive last year. Unless like Jazz is healthy this whole year and like really propels that offense, I don't think they really have a reason to really force Max Myers on anyone. Same thing with we are on the clock. Same thing who just got taken there. All right, we're gonna take Bryce Miller here. He's added the pitch. That's been the offseason talk for Bryce Miller. He's added a pitch. It is an interesting upside case there. But no, what was I saying? Paul Skeens. I don't see any reason for Pittsburgh to push him to the majors this year. So I think he is kind of not kind of. I think he's a bad pick in this contest. Sorry, Gambit, if you're watching, but I don't see a reason why Pittsburgh is going to force a guy who has barely any minor league experience, just push him up to the majors just because. Now, if they're surprisingly competitive, obviously the NL Central could be whatever it is. Maybe, but especially in this format, I just want nothing to do with him. So we have our 7 pitchers: Senga, Peralta, Javier, Ober, Lugo, Stroman, Miller. So we're really working off of a strong couple of seasons from Senga and Peralta, and then, this sort of this group to contribute a little bit throughout the whole season. Yeah, I don't disagree that Wu has the K upside. I posted it the other day in the Badge Bros baseball thread of Scout Girl is writing for The Athletic now. Andrea is her first name. Can't remember her last name. But she was breaking down those two guys and sort of talking about it more of a competition for the 5th spot between the two of them. So I don't know if one of them ends up being a reliever. I don't know. They do have, that was assuming Descalfani was the 4th option, which is not what Dipto said. Jerry Dipto, when the trade was made for Descalfani, all right. We're going to take a guy. We missed it. Oh, we got it. Yes, he added a splitter. Bryce Miller added a splitter. We got Mitch Haniger there. That is not who I wanted. I ran out of time. There he is. I wanted to add a little Michael Conforto with our Jung-Hoo Lee. We did not get it. That's all right. So we end up with the 7-6-7 build, which is not something I have too much of. I have some 6-7-7s and 7-7-6s, but interesting. But really, we went down that path by taking Riley Endeavors early. So we ended up with Senga, Peralta, Javier, Ober, Lugo, and Stroman, and Bryce Miller. Our infield is anchored by Austin Riley and Rafael Devers. We have a couple of young, fun guys in Tristan Casas and Josh Young, Ha-Sung Kim and Ezekiel Tovar for some stacking partners. Our outfield is Fernando Tatis, Nolan Jones, Masataka Yoshida, Jung-Hoo Lee, JD Martinez, Tyler O'Neill, Mitch Haniger, which is a very different outfield group than I am used to. I think we could do one more. The simple answer, Dave, is I don't know yet. My original plan was to do 100 dinger drafts, but I don't know. It's going to depend on the other contests that come out and how much of the perfect game I want to end up drafting, this $100 entry one. I think I'll stay out of the bunt for the most part, but I'm not sure exactly. So yeah, if you want to jump into the second draft, we need 6 more people, 5 more people. I am going to take a quick disappearance break to get rid of some of this gin and tonic that's already in me. So I will be back in a moment. I'm muted, but I'm back. No, I'm not muted. All right, Adam Lee's in. We got Billy Joe back. We got Raleigh back. The White Rabbit is back. If you're the White Rabbit, you've been in a lot of drafts. If you're out there, let me know. Let me know who you are. Been seeing you all over. We get the 10 spot. Much better than the 11th or the 12th spot. So our start is basically whatever outfielder that falls to us. Billy Joe goes with the Judge over Soto. It is interesting. Yes, this will be the soft lobby. I've been talking for an hour, so I might just miss all my picks. We'll see what happens. What is the ADP on these guys right now? Judge is at 3.2, Soto 2.5. Be very interesting. I feel like Judge has been overtaking Soto, so very interesting to see where those ADPs end up. So we are down to Carroll, Tucker, or Alvarez. Carroll goes. Adam, you get to decide who my pick is. Whichever Houston guy you do not take will be mine. That's excellent. I do not have, just based on the dynamics of those two guys being next to each other, Jordan and Kyle Tucker, I do not have nearly as much Kyle Tucker exposure as I want this year. So we're happy with that. All right. So I was thinking about Schwarber there if he fell. Marshall Falk 007 takes him. Kirk is looking here at his Freddie Freeman. Who does he want to pair with him? He takes Bryce Harper. We are going to slam Bobby Witt here, who is just primed for an excellent season. Definitely love Corey Seager. Thought about Spencer Strider there. Adam, you got him. But I try to hide my I try to hide my Spencer Strider picks onto drafts that nobody's watching. So when they listen to me say, I don't want to take a pitcher in the first 3 rounds, they can't accuse me of lying. But definitely a little bit of Spencer Strider is the exception to that rule. Mookie Betts, Corey Seager. That's a sheep wet dream star right there. It has been very sad this year. I've been quite upset just how high Mookie Betts is being drafted. Last 2 years, he's just been a staple of my first round exposures, and I don't even know if I'm going to get to the field on him. Maybe I will, but it's just a sad event that one of your favorite picks for a year just not in the range for you. But he has been a guy that just has always been a guy I wanted to be over the field on. Picking him all over the end of the first round the last couple of seasons. But he finally had that super season, and now he's going at that cost. We'll see if Billy Joe does the Nimmo pair. No, he mixes it up a little bit. Maybe he can. Actually, Nimmo might be there at 47. We'll see. What is our plan? There's not really a Kansas City stack other than putting Vinny Pasquantino with Bobby Witt. The Houston guys, we might be taking that. I'm not sure what we're going to do here. Ooh, yes. Put a little Marcus Semien with your Corey Seager. Get a little bit of Young late. Ooh, that's an infield. That's an infield. Ooh, the White Rabbit, Garrett Cole, Corbin Burns combo. Yelich goes. He was definitely on our radar there. All right, we're going to take a Brian Reynolds. Just a boring, solid guy on a bad team. Maybe we get a little O'Neal Cruz later. We'll see. Obviously, you can see this is why I don't normally do a ton of second drafts. My analysis goes on to we'll see. And I don't know what I'm doing, but we're here. We're drafting. We're having fun. All right, so the option here is, do we take a pitcher, our first pitcher, or do we grab a Jose Altuve to go with Kyle Tucker? And I think this is going to be a Luis Castillo draft. Just going to grab that. That's that anchor pitcher. The decision here is usually Castillo versus Pablo Lopez for me, with Zach Gallen being a close third. Sort of a mix them all up. This, for me, this is living a little. I don't take a ton of Brian Reynolds, but I think he's sort of the opposite of living a little. Just taking a nap a little. That's what Brian Reynolds is. Maybe I'm just down on Pittsburgh and even Brian Reynolds, because even the man himself, Nez, is a little bit down on Pittsburgh this year. Raleigh opens up a Baltimore option in his team here with a third infielder. The White Rabbit does take a third pitcher here. I guess I forget their build in the last draft. If they did, I think they did early pitching too. All right, we're not going to magically get a Jose Altuve to fall back to us. Senga is D-Rod's first pitcher. Billy Joe is pushing the pitcher line down a little bit, as his data analysis has shown from last year. Raleigh adds on to his Baltimore stack. White Rabbit is going to go with another pitcher. I think they do. I think they're going to go 4 pitcher here. George Kirby. All right, Castillo, Witt, Tucker, Reynolds. Where is this build going? Where are we going with this? I think I know. We will make sure Adam does not snipe us here. I mean, it's probably kind of obvious what I'm thinking. Adam takes Teoscar. All right, we're going to put a little Alex Bregman with our Kyle Tucker. You're going to star our Houston players. It's about as far down that list I want to go. So we make sure we don't miss out on those guys. Yeah, I don't think the White Rabbit is going to go with 4 pitchers, but just based on the last draft, but we will see. So we have a 1-2-2 build. Likely going to be trying to put an outfielder here with this team. Castellanos Hap go. All right, we are going to make this a Jazz team. We have 2 highly skilled outfield contributors that are sort of just I don't like calling Kyle Tucker an accumulator, but I think these 2 guys offset the risk of Jazz pretty nice. So we're going to take Jazz as our 3rd outfielder. And that does lead us to some like round 18, 19, 20 infielders later if we want to pair with Jazz. And we want to make the bet that, yes, Miami is going to succeed again this year, a little bit more on offense. Which, if you're making that bet on a full Miami stack, it's hard to argue that that's not going to come because of Jazz Chisholm, who's just, electric when he's healthy. Continuing this interesting build from the White Rabbit, takes Evan Carter, 2 outfielders and 4 pitchers. So really doing a 0 infielder type build. Billy Joe is doing the 0 pitcher, as he sometimes does. One, two, three. We'll see what we get to here. We might be looking at a pitcher. I do like Logan Gilbert, and I do love me some Grayson Rodriguez. We will see what happens here. The White Rabbit takes Yoshida. This is a little interesting fall, and a little bit of a fall in Nolan Arenado. definitely in consideration here. We got 82 and 87 upcoming. I think I'm going to not get greedy here, depending on what happens. Soler goes. I guess if you're thinking about Miami, he could end up being part of going back to Miami. I could definitely see that in his range of outcomes. All right. We're not going to get crazy here. We're not going to risk it. There's a bunch of guys I like if they come back to us. But we are going to push up O'Neal Cruz a few places here to put him with Brian Reynolds. I think that's a pretty smart bet. Like a really nice Brian Reynolds season can definitely be enhanced by a really nice O'Neal Cruz season. Even if the rest of that team stinks this year on offense, and they are going to stink and pitching outside of maybe some Mitch Keller. I appreciate it, Adam, that you left me, Grayson, but the other couple of guys that I like go. But I think it was more important for this team to get the O'Neal Cruz with Brian Reynolds. So Joe Ryan goes. So this is an interesting situation. I am going to take the Nolan Arenado fall, I think. Also looking at Carlos Rodon as our pitcher 2, SP2. I think that's where we're going to go. I think we're going to go with Carlos Rodon as our SP2 and, just make – this is a bet that I have made quite a bit, is that he really settles in this year. I was very tempted by the Arenado value. He was injured last year. There's no reason he can't get up to 150 innings this year. But yeah, we're hoping for this K to inning ratio to go back up next year and really settle in New York. But we've seen the good Rodon seasons, and I don't think we've seen the last of the good Rodon seasons. So I'm definitely taking him here. Obviously, Perez and Steele are the younger guys, sort of in different camps. The Perez bet is just on his insane upside, and the Steele is in his consistency. So maybe those are better bets to make than an older guy, Rodon, like settling in New York. But if you've been around me long enough, I'm more likely going to take this old guy bet. Checking in on our friend, the White Rabbit, who is building very interesting here, is now really doing a very true zero infield build, taking 3 more outfielders after their anchor outfielder and then their 4 pitching core. So that's definitely going to be outfield or infield heavy towards the end. Interesting. Brand pumps up Jung-Hoo Lee to 100. I don't know if I love that. I definitely liked getting him at the 120 or whatever we did in the last draft. Riley gets Cole Reagans as his second pitcher. Let's see, where are we going here? We're going to take another pitcher. We are going to take Zach Eflin. In this pitching range, I'm fine with Mitch Keller. Joe Musgrove is an interesting pick here. I'm mostly out on Hunter Green. Merrill Kelly's interesting. So, Sonny Gray, Bassett, Javier Brown, these guys. So I definitely didn't need to take Zach Eflin there. Which then leads us into this next pick. Interestingly enough, Mitch Keller, the other guy I was mostly looking at there, is still there. There is a Swanson Fall who is going there. Glaber goes. Good late round pick with Rizzo to pair with him. All right. I'm going to take an outfielder here. Just not a real crazy in love with pick, TJ Friedel at this price. But we're going to take it. Definitely a guy I don't want zero of. I don't want a ton of. So here it's just going to be not really that. There's no real big decision on it. It's just we're taking him there. We're going to have some of him in our overall player portfolio and in our lineups. And if he can, he can show what he showed last year in Cincinnati, sort of out of nowhere, not out of nowhere, but a little bit unexpectedly, we were going to put him there. Just do not want to get super behind on outfield. This Churio thing, I'm going to regret this in a couple of weeks that I didn't just take him here. I know it. And maybe I'm going to make that change this weekend while I'm drafting a few more teams, and I'm going to grab my Churio exposure now before he goes up too high. Because this is getting pretty outrageous. Pretty outrageous. I don't know why this is saying, why you've come up with this question. But I have never done karaoke. I do not sing. But most likely it would probably be if you're like, you need to do karaoke or else I shoot you. It'd probably be a Weird Al song. That would be where I would go to. Maybe that's not very surprising. All right. We are going with Hunter Brown as our SP4. Just loading up on Hunter Brown this year. I just feel like there's something there. He did not succeed as we wanted him to succeed last year. There's a lot of my heart will go on, but it is not Celine Dion. It would be Weird Al. Hunter Brown, he got the innings that we want. We did not get the results that we want. So we're going to take a bounce back Willie Adames as part of this team. And then we're going to be 4-4-4 here. I like that. But no, Hunter Brown. Yeah, I think I finished my thought on Hunter Brown. Yeah, we got the quantity. We did not get the quality. But going into Hunter Brown has a really unfair problem in that he has a delivery that looks a lot like Justin Verlander, and now, it's impossible for people not to compare him to Justin Verlander. So maybe the hype got a little bit out of control, but the fact that Houston stuck with him despite some struggles at the end of the year, it was probably fatigue. That's the best explanation that you could probably come up with through the course of Hunter Brown's season is just fatigue. But he got the innings. His balloon is inflated, and I think next year could be a big year for him. You know what? Here's another option. We could maybe, if it's like, oh, we don't have Weird Al, that's not a real karaoke or whatever, story time. So in high school, I wanted to try out, or I like doing plays in high school, and every so often they would do a musical instead of a play. I'm not a singer, and I didn't want to do a musical, but there was a role in it that didn't have speaking in a role. But in order to try out for the musical, you needed to sing a song, and so I was like, bleh. So I went up there and I did Amish Paradise was my song, was my singing song for this tryout. And the choir teacher who ran the singing part of the director of the musical did not enjoy that very much. So obviously I did not get any part. But so if somebody was like that was running the karaoke stand and didn't have any Weird Al, the second option probably be something off of Third Eye Blind's original album, because that is maybe the album I've listened to the most in the most formative years of my life, and just would know everything, every word to those songs just from when I was listening to that. So there's a little young sheep trivia. He was a big Third Eye Blind fan. And a Weird Al fan. So Weird Al is forever. I haven't read that yet, but of course Raleigh has a story about Third Eye Blind. All right, we're going to continue our Pittsburgh stack with little Jack Swinski. I went to a concert in a small theater where Third Eye Blind played the whole Green album from front to back. It was awesome. The green, the blue? I think you mean blue. Not to call you out, but I think you mean blue. But I know what you mean. That is awesome. What era was that? Like original Third Eye Blind lineup? That would be awesome. Even Ezekiel thinks that my mind is gone. I'm a man with a plan and to discipline. I got a Bible in my hand and a beard on my chin. There you go. There's your. Oh, yeah, the self-title one. That would be awesome. All right, what are we doing? We're taking Brandon Fott. I'm getting off the rails here. I'm singing Weird Al songs. It was red. The cover of the album was red for the yeah, this was not the intention to act like we are Nez this year or this draft, but yeah, we're putting together this fun little pirate stack. All right, we got our story straight here now. Yes, Third Eye Blind had the red album with the girl with her hand on the face. Weezer's was green. Did not get into Weezer. Draft more Astros. We can do that. There's only one of these three guys that I like to draft. I have the three other infielders here up here to pair with Kyle Tucker, but honestly, there's only one of these guys that I like to draft at cost at the moment. I'm not super high on Yainer Diaz, but it is not him. Well, I didn't accidentally stack it. I did it on purpose. And I'm not too upset about it because I like I like Brian Reynolds. I love O'Neal Cruz this year, and excited by the spike week potential of Swinsky. So putting them all three together, and this team is just being a bet on them overperforming as a group. Definitely do not dislike that. So we're at 5-4-5. Kind of an interesting spot to be here. This is normally when you're like feathering in infielders, but we kind of already have four of them. Yeah, and the more super confusing thing is the second Third Eye Blind album is named Blue, so that's where I was confused on the color naming scheme, not the color that it is. I did do a dance to Grease Lightning once in my storied career as a human being, but I have not played anybody in Greece. We have a guest. We have a four-legged guest here on the corner joining us for the stream. Oh, we are on the clock. We should probably make a pick here. We're going to take Trevor Story. I had cassettes. I definitely made some cassettes. Another Young Sheep story is I don't know how many people know the Dr. Demento show, which was like a radio syndicated. Well, by the time I was listening to it, it was a syndicated broadcast. We're gonna take Reed Detmers here. It was a syndicated show that featured oddball music. It's the show where Weird Al sent his original self-recordings in that really led to his original popularity. So it would get broadcast on the radio at like late Sunday night. So I would sometimes record, like set up this little CD tape thing that I had to record it. And I would listen to it, over and over. I also did, I also made my own Weird Al mixtapes, like actual cassette tapes. So like put all like put the CDs in, because I had all the CDs, and I would put my greatest hits. Yeah, let's just say I was a cool guy in high school. Like everybody loved me. Lots of ladies, sending them the Weird Al mixtapes. Just a cool guy. I mean, I still am. It hasn't gone away. I talk to 10 people on the internet every Friday night. I draft baseball teams. Like, what's cooler? I don't know anything cooler. Don't know a cooler person than myself. This is the commentary you get on the solo sheep second draft. You get to hear about Kid Sheep and how big of a loser he was, in a nice way. I have no problem with being a loser. I'm sure plenty of people listening to this are not surprised. But here we are. We're having fun. We were making friends. We're getting attacked by dogs. I guess you can't really see it the way my camera is cut. Ugh. She hates this. She's not enjoying this one bit. Riley, would you like to say hello? Who should we take next? What do you think? Here, I'll show you who we have so far. We have 6 pitchers, 5 infield. Oh, yeah. You just want to make out? You don't want to draft a team with me? Okay, we got 5 infielders, and we have five outfielders. So where do you think we go from here? You don't care? You don't care? Okay, you'd rather get down? Okay. She's no help. All right, well, let's just get crazy. Let's build this giant Pittsburgh stack. Let's get our 6 infielder, Brian Hayes. Let's just do it. We got a 4-man Pittsburgh stack. I can tell you, I do not have this build. I do not have this big of a Pittsburgh build. This is Basset Hound. Chris Bassett was already taken at 127. Yeah. When we adopted her, they tried to say she was a Corgi mix. So I think there's definitely some Basset Hound in her, for sure. But she's got the little short stubby legs. So, and everybody is supposedly, Corgis are more popular than Basset Hounds. So I'm pretty sure that they just said Corgi to try and get people to adopt her, but I'm not worried. She is wonderful. All right. We're going to take our 7th infielder here. Jeremy Pena was the guy. I think the reaction to Jeremy Pena has gone too far in the wrong direction. I do like him as part of our little Houston group here. Obviously, he was a late bloomer, had that really great postseason 2 years ago or 2 postseasons ago. But I think him being a late round pick here is just sort of moved too far in the wrong direction, especially because I don't see any reason why Houston isn't good on offense again. So we have 2 picks left. The question is are we feeling comfortable with this pitching staff? Castillo, Rodon, Eflin, Brown, Fa, Detmers, that we want to tack on 2 outfielders here and make it a 6-7-7. And I think I do. I think that's where we're going. This pitching staff is what we're saying is Castillo is that anchor. Rodon has some sort of a bounce back. Eflin is consistent. Hunter Brown takes that next step, and Brandon Pfaadt, builds off the good end of the season that he had in the playoffs. And then Detmers is just there as, he's our fill-in guy. So this team that we're building, I'm comfortable with this 6. I can tell a story where these guys, as a group succeed throughout the season together, or at different times, I should say. So this definitely looks like we're setting up for 2 late outfielders who, I don't be interesting to go Henry Davis here. I don't love it. I'm pretty worried about where now that he's going to have to catch how much playing time he gets. Or I should say how many rest days he's going to get compared to if he has just a DH outfielder and backup catcher. So yeah, I'm not sure we're going there. Looking at our Miami group, I had planned to make this a Jake Berger team when I took Jazz. It did not really work out. Don't need Bell. I don't like the outfield options in Miami. Like maybe some De La Cruz is fine, but Jesus Sanchez just has not really figured it out, and Avisail Garcia has just been hurt. So I don't love any of those options. I don't know that there's a Cincinnati option that I love out here. Maybe there is. Maybe we take Jake Fraley as a little mini Cincinnati stack. I don't love that. Don't know how much upside he has. But we're running out of time, so I think we're going to take him. And then just looking at our other teams, or the players from the teams that our other players are on. Have no real draw to Nelson Velasquez. So we're just scrolling here. Just scrolling down here. Where are we going with this? All right, we're just gonna have a little fun with this since the 7th outfielder pick. We're gonna take Jock Peterson. I have no idea where he ends up this year, but we're just gonna hope for a couple of spike weeks out of this guy, and our bets on Pittsburgh being better, combined with some Jock Peterson. Maybe he ends up there. That could be a place. I don't know where he ends up. I have no real lean one way or the other. All right. Well, we are here. We made 677. Castillo, Rodon, Eflin, Brown, Fott, Detmers, Witt, Bregman, Cruz, Adames, Story, Hayes, Pena, Tucker, Reynolds, Jazz Chisholm, TJ Friedel, Sawinski, Fraley, and Jock Peterson. And my dog needs to go out, so I am going to shut this guy down, shut this draft stream down. Thank you, everybody that stuck through for a second draft. It was awesome. You got those of you that stick around, get to hear about Young Sheep. Thank you, everybody, for joining me. Maybe you got some playoff football teams that you're cheering on this weekend. I hope those go well. And we will be back drafting more dingers. We'll see what happens this draft season, what other contests we get. I don't know where we're going. I don't know what's happening, but we're going to have some fun. Thank you, everybody, for joining, and have a good weekend.